There we go. Yeah, mine's sort of, mind you, I'm on an old Mac and I don't want to. The new ones, apparently, my information is they're not built to last anymore. Um, this one's getting on a bit, but I only use it for Zoom work, basic work, really. And I just keep getting, I don't know if you're familiar, you get a rainbow ball that keeps appearing.
Oh, no, I don't use Mac, but I
Yeah.
picture
Yeah,
it.
you sort of get it, and it's sort of pointing that the RAM. I've had a new hard drive fitted in it, but it's pointing to that the RAM needs doing. So I might have to have a look at that and get that sorted. So there you go. So yeah, Gremlins. So how have you been? So where did you go off to in the meditation? I was quite. I was being a bit wary because normally, all my teaching in the future is to drum people on a 222 beat, which I've recorded because 20 minutes drumming takes it out of you. So a 222 beat is something like, um, so it goes sort of. Did you hear that?
I know I couldn't hear anything. That's strange.
That was funny. You're the second one to say that it didn't come through on Zoom. Did you get that?
Just a little bit.
Right, okay. I've got to find out why that's happening.
Mm.
But I've got it recorded anyway. It's quite a fast beat. And the idea is that your journey to it, it takes you into an altered state of consciousness. Okay. Um, so I didn't obviously because I didn't want to set the drums going because it's a 40-minute journey and it's too long. And B, I couldn't keep my eye properly on people. So I was very aware that that's why I set the intention for people to come back because you can go off and you can get lost as well. So that's why the intention was set to come back. So yeah, it was quite interesting. I was watching, I knew you were going off somewhere, I could tell by your face. And it was interesting. Here's one for you. What did you sense from Leslie when she said, "Oh, I felt love and I got scared and I got out"?
It was well, I was hardly back when she said that, so I was a little disturbed by what she said at first because she said that first she said she got really scared and
Mm,
had to go back.
yeah,
She talked about love
yeah.
when she said that I felt more relieved, I guess.
Well, it was interesting because I sort of was sat there listening to what she said, and I was thinking, what did you get scared about then? What did you see that frightened you? But what she was obviously very frightened of was feeling love. She felt love. Oh shit, I'm going because she's a leaving pattern.
Yeah. Oh, that's how you okay. I didn't get that, but
Yeah.
yeah,
So I mean, that's between you and I. haven't spoken to
sure.
anyone, but that's where she took off. That's why she took off because she has this fear of feeling love. So it was quite interesting that, and I'm like, oh, because that's what they were bringing to her when she was sat on that hill. That's what they were bringing to her, and it was like, I'm going.
Yeah, that's interesting. And considering that all I want is to bathe in love, so
Yeah. Well, there you go. So where did you go off to? Do you know?
so well, the thing is, I didn't catch that we were supposedly we had to stay on that bench. Like I heard the bench part, and then
Yeah,
I I didn't know. Like I was just sort of there, but not in any particular place.
that's
And
okay.
I knew it wasn't time to go back because I figured you would say that. So I guess like I said, I was just floating around in some sort of space, and my feeling was just really, I remember a number of times bringing you, whoever was there, into my awareness, and like really intentionally connecting to each of you and feeling this connection, this love, this really nurturing energy that I love so much. And I was like, this is so much what I want in my life, and I was just bathing in that pretty much.
Well, it's interesting. You're not necessarily had to be the idea of the bench, and when we move into, because what we're going to do is talk about creating your sacred space on this call, and then the next one we're going to do a journey, and you're going to find your power animal. And the journey, you always journey in and out through your sacred space. That's why I was being a bit careful how I was talking people through, because they weren't in a sacred space and they hadn't got protection on. So I was creating a protection for them in a sense, but I was being a bit careful because it's not something I'd done before. This is all pretty new. So interesting enough. So when you got to the bench, you might not have, that's why it depended what come up. Somebody might have been walking along a beach, somebody might have been by a lake, somebody might have been by a river, that it could have got there by a step ladder or down a lift. That's why I gave the options so that the spirit would take you where you needed to go. And when you got the metaphor of being sat on the hill, was anything could come in and you got took off.
Yeah, because now, that you remind me of that, I remember not being able to, like, focusing on any particular way to get there and place where I was. Like, I had a mix of several images coming in and going out. I was like a little puzzled at first. I was like, oh, whoa, I can't, like, fix my mind on anything, and then I just let it go because that's how it was. So
Yeah, good. Okay. So I assume you keep practicing your cloak.
yes. Yes.
Okay. And from the last call, have you any questions about what we went through? Because it was quite intense. This one's quite light and it won't be too long, because I'm going to go through how to create your sacred space, and then you go off and create it, and build it as you want to, and then practice that ready for the journey on the next one we do.
I guess the only thing that came to mind, is like I get the idea that a shaman is somebody who's chosen, and the person pretty much feels it from the get-go in their life, and then they embrace it or not, but they don't really have that much of a choice eventually, things like that. And then what we do here, we get trained. I guess my question is, how do we help people differently from a shaman? That's
It's I don't know how your path's going to unfold. I'm not sure that cats sensed a gift within you, same as when I approached her, she knew I'd been sent, because I got some sort of gift, and she still will not say what that gift is or how it will unfold, because it's down to me, my ego, and my choices how that gift will unfold. And it's a connection to spirit, but spirit will block it if we're not using it in the correct manner. So to answer your question, I'm not fully sure how that will unfold for you. That's the exciting thing. Sometimes I will pre-warn you, because I'm going through that now, is you can start to get impatient of how it unfolds. And interestingly enough, when I went to Spiritualist Church last night, the medium, before they do a demonstration, always gives a philosophy, and philosophy is usually from spirit. And interestingly enough, obviously there's a lot of people in the room that have not done any inner work whatsoever. They go along there because they're looking for a healing. they're looking for loved ones to come through to reassure them that they're being looked after, etc., etc. And the philosophy was about working on yourself. But then she went into, and I know some of you do, and when you do, it can go really fast or it can go really slow. You just have to be patient. And I thought, that message was for me. That definitely hit me straight between the eyes, just to relax and wait and see how things unfold. And you forget things like after Christmas, we had a bit of a shindig in Kat's cabin. There was 4 of us, 5 of us maybe, and we just took some quiche and biscuits and cheese and bread and French stick, actually, because Kat likes French stick. So, and we just had a bit of a chat. And Kat said to me then, she said, "You've come so far to where you were in February." Because the last time she asked me to do a journey on her. So I did a soul retrieval on her, and I'm like, oh shit. So apparently I did really well. So there you go. You never know, do you, what's going to happen. So how that will unfold for you, I've got no idea. I'm just beginning to learn now. Just to give you an idea, what Kat created was, I'll just show you a quick demo of these things. So we do these shows, and Kat's on benefits over here now, so she's disabled because of her illness, and she has enough money coming in, etc. So what she created was these herbal smokes, okay, and there's various different ones of them. This one's called Midnight Meltdown, and when the shows we've been doing, the 2-day shows, I've been promoting myself and doing like little journeys on people to get them in the funnel, if you like. And then Kat's been selling us smokies, and we've been doing, one day we had a single day where we did £500, and then 2-day shows anywhere between 800 and 1,000 quid, which is good business. So now I've been handed that. This is yours now, because I can't be seen to earn any money. But when she makes these, she puts healing spirit in them. Okay. So my job has unfolded now is to get these herbal healing spirit smokes out to people. And of course, when they're on a bench, there's loads of different colours. There's blue ones, green ones. And when they're on of course, anybody that smokes green herb immediately sees them and comes straight there and say, and we've now got a pull-up banner as well, Sacred Smokes and all that on it, for the next shows that we start doing this year. And so, of course, it draws people in. So the short story is, it's unfolded where I will be putting them out, and I'm also putting the therapy out. So, and I'm sort of getting a bit of a niggly feeling like, no, you need to do your revision and train Veronique at the same time for free. Oh, okay, right. So I think the whole idea is that as I'm revising, because I've had such a crammed fast track year to get to where I am, I need to go over where I am and teaching you at the same time, because whatever your gift you've got will unfold. I've no idea how it will. All I can say to you is, when I sit with people, some people just burst into tears, and I can feel the energy come through me as the portal. When I'm journeying, it's the same energy, and I just sit there and they burst into tears. So they're obviously getting some form of healing from that. So it could be that you just need to sit with people and listen and heal, or some other thing might unfold. I've no idea. So the exciting thing is, we'll see what happens. The other thing is, it teaches you patience and grace, because, like I've just said, I need to be, why aren't I getting on with it? And no, you need patience. I was told very clearly. Okay. So, and then all this is unfolding this year for me, taking me down this path. I've no idea where it goes from there. Do we ship over to France? I've no idea. I've got a clue. Will you get into the drum? And that's the other thing. My drum practitioner training was put off till April, and she's now coming here. I don't want to take too much time up, but just to give you an idea, I've had messages from people within our spiritualist circle, from spirit via them, that our garden is sat on sacred ground, or they're calling it sacred ground of some description. And then a month and a half later, Kat said, tell you what, we'll do it at your house because it looks quite amazing where you are. And I just want to come and check it out. And I'm like, for you to say that, you've had a message somewhere along the line. So I've no idea how that's unfolding, but it's very apparent that she doesn't know how it's going to unfold. She said, this year you've booked up to do all the exhibitions and sell these things and put yourself out there. It could be the following year that you're that busy with drums that you can't do these. So somebody else might have to take it on. Okay, so
I see.
we
Okay.
sort of see where spirit takes us. Okay.
Yep.
I know that's not much of an answer, but
yes, it is. It is.
okay.
You know, I was just curious, generally speaking, and that's fine.
Yeah, good. Okay. So anything else you're curious about or need to ask, or no?
No.
Okay. Well, if you think of anything, you can always, because I message Kat all the time to clarify things, because things pop in when I'm meditating, and I'm sure it's spirit reminding me, oh, this, and this. So we'll just get on with creating a sacred space. So here we go. So this is the next step after creating your cloak. So the sacred space is your space, and it's connected to nature. It's very beautiful and peaceful, and you make it your own. You create it. But the most important thing is you don't tell anybody how it's created. Okay? I know my sacred space and how it's created, and it's probably very different to Kat's sacred space and how hers is created. And we enter that sacred space and we do our journeying from the sacred space. Okay. And it can be anywhere as long as it's yours. It could be, it's where you feel safe as well. So you create it and it feels safe. It could be inside a tree trunk if you wanted it inside. You could enter a tree and it's got all different rooms or whatever you want, or it even could be in your bedroom, could be in another room in your house, as long as it's grounded and connected to nature. So what you do is you have to build on it and personalize it and add your own energies. So however, when you begin, right, I'm going to create a sacred space, however that begins to happen, you begin to create it. And when we've created it, by the way, we do not even allow our guides or power animals into that space because there could be tricksters. So we don't allow them in. So an energy could try and trick you to get into that space. So we don't allow anybody, and we make it clear when I'm going back, when we do the journeying on the power animals, you'll see it will come up. We make it clear to them that I'm leaving now, and you go back to your sacred space. And so you personalize it with your own energies, and you can create flowers, trees, fruit trees, shrubs, smell them when you're in there. You could put a bench in there. You could put a healing pool in there, a campfire in there, a waterfall in there, a sprinkler type thing out of a fountain. It's your space and you build on it and you create it, and it becomes a magical space because as we go on, I'll teach you how to go and resource yourself in that space as well. So, I mean, I don't do many minis anymore, and I'm cautious who I do minis with, because I get, like tonight when I came in from work, I felt, so I just sat and I journeyed and I resource myself and I come back out again. I still do minis because when I'm sat with people, different things come up and it's quite interesting. But when I'm sat in church, spiritualist church, though, I drop in and I feel into that as well. So I'm doing it, but I'm doing it in different ways and I'm cautious who I do it with. So what you do is you create this space, it's yours and it belongs to you and you're personalizing it. But what you need to do as well is create a side room. Okay. And that side room is for anybody that wants to visit you.
Mhm.
And your power animals and your guides might want to visit you, for instance. So what you can do is put a window in it
Mhm.
and next to a very locked door that you can seal, and it's magic, don't forget. You're in no logic, no, it's all magic dimensional, so you can create a seal with your hand so nobody else could get in it. It's like a fingerprint, if you like. But you can look through this room, and if one of your power animals is in there, when you have a look through, you can go in, shut the door and have a chat with them. But you can also put tea making facilities in there, coffee facilities, biscuits, a couple of easy chairs. So when they're sat waiting for you, because they don't mind, time is irrelevant to them, they'll sit there forever waiting for you. So it gives them, they can make themselves a cup of tea and have a biscuit while they're in there. So that's how we create the space. And you do it out of the same integrity as your main space, but it's sealed off from your main space. Okay. So once you've made your space to your liking, okay, you need to protect yourself before working, fortify it and protect yourself. So what I do before I go into my sacred space, I bring out my protection and then I make it invisible again as I go in.
Mm.
Okay, that works for me.
Mhm.
So see how it works for you. But you need to be, and it needs to be fully protected before we work with any other energies. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a protective dome over it.
Okay.
And that can be any color you like, but make sure it goes over your waiting room as well. Okay.
Mhm.
I can send you this recording, by the way, so you can do your notes from it if you want. So you put the protective dome over it, but I would suggest use any color except white. So you could go gold, blue, red, green, or you could have a mixture of colors. It doesn't matter, or it could be rainbow effect or whatever. Again, it doesn't matter as long as it's not white, because as we've explained to you before, white is very easily penetrable, and most people don't realize that. They think it's much of a protection, but it's not. It's because white tends to be our energy that we're seeing and not a protection cover, as we've shown before. You can call upon dragons to put a ring of fire around as well if you want to make it super protective. Again, I did something that came to me when I was building it. It was like, do that. And okay. So I did that. So as you're beginning to look and build and personalize it, something might just come in, another way of protecting it as you're creating it. So what we do is we then put, and it's what feels right to you as you're creating it again, but you put an intention in. Don't forget, when we're doing an intention 3 times. My intention is to create full protection over this sacred space. My intention is to set full protection over this sacred space. My intention is to set full protection over this sacred space. Then put your dome over. Then you might put your ring of fire in, or whatever comes up will show you the path. If you're not sure, ask them. Mm-hmm. Just when you dropped in and like you journeyed a bit yesterday, just sit there and say, could you please give me guidance? I need to know how to protect this more. And if nothing comes in, you know that you're protecting more, and something might just pop in to do this, this, and this. Okay. And then make it homely inside there with the, like we said before, a bench or one of those things with flowers in, you know, like, you know what I mean, don't you? A seat with a trellising round it with flowers in it. Anything like that that you love to sit amongst in nature that connects you, that's what you do. And you put it in there, and then smell it, feel it, hear that if you've got water, hear it flowing, and smell the flowers. And if you've got a fire going, listen to it crackling and feel the heat from the flames, and you can smell the smoke that you're burning. It might be pine that you're burning or something, anything like that. And the more you do it, the more you'll feel into it. But what we're going to do now is important thing is you need to have a 6-pointed star at the top of it, not a 5-pointed. So it's the Star of David, yeah, with the triangles, and you put that right on the very top, and that is to act as a portal for you to be able to travel to different realms, and that's what the star does. Okay. And when you're ready to journey, and again, this is sort of answering your question, just looking at my notes here, it says it has the ability to portal you anywhere when you are doing other work. This will be when your guides feel you're ready to do so. So that sort of answers your question a bit earlier. How does it unfold? It's when you're ready, they'll take you further on. You might zip along faster than me. Do you see what I mean? Your gift could come out very quicker than mine. I've no idea. So it's when you're ready, they'll begin to show you the way forward. But this is quite important. This when you, and again, I'll teach you it when we're journeying. When you're journeying, you don't mix with any energies that you're not sure of. So that's why I don't know if you caught it yesterday when I was journeying, I said, if you ask somebody, have they got a message for you? And they say no, ask them to move on. Spirit can't lie, by the way. Even if the trickster spirits, they cannot lie. It's the law of the universe. They have to tell you the truth. So if you ask, are you a trickster spirit? They go, yes. You know they are. If they say no, you know they're not. But you always ask 3 times, because they might say yes, no, yes. Do you see what I mean? So, but they're not allowed to lie. They have, that's part of the universal law. So, and like I've said to you before, we're being taught these practices. A shaman's born into them, like Kat's born into them. She can clear negative energies out of people and out of rooms, and she's amazing what she does. We're just being taught these practices, and we're not skilled by any means. On one day we could be, but at this stage, at the moment, we're not skilled enough to clear these energies. So we just need to be a bit careful and follow the teachings and don't go off piste, if you know what I mean. And then again, so you can now see why I put the intention in for you to come back where you started from. So that something didn't pick you up and take you off. It's not allowed to pick you up and take you off, because I put the intention in to bring you back. So when I called you back, you have to come back. They have to, again, universal law, they have to obey that law. Yeah.
I liked that reminds me, I liked the fact that when we came back, we took a little dive in a pool pool of water that was really nice and warm, and then we air dried right away.
Yeah. Well, again, when we journey, when we do the journeying, when we've finished journeying, you'll again create however it creates for you. But for me, I have a waterfall. This isn't in my sacred space, by the way. This is when I journey into the lower world. And I have a waterfall, and I always clean myself off the waterfall. And then before I come back to the sacred space, I have like a well that's a mirror reflection of water, so I can see if anything's attached to me. And so you just wash yourself off. Obviously, I didn't say that yesterday, but for you, that this is what you're learning. You cleanse yourself off to make sure nothing's attached to you, and then you can come back. And you don't bring anything back with you. And that even your power animals, it's like, no, wait here. I'm leaving now. I'll see you next time. And if they want to get to you, they know there's a waiting room, and then go and find you in the waiting room. And one of mine turned up. I'd forgotten about the room, interestingly enough. And my next power animal, well, one of my power animals is a bear. And that drum, he's my main healing drum. But my third drum, which is a big 20-inch, which Cap's nearly finished painting now, is of my bear. And it was interesting because I said to Cap, I looked in the waiting room because I'd forgotten about it. And I looked through the window, and there's Bear sat there. And she said, oh, what was he doing there? I said, well, I went in and I sat down and I took a big gollop of honey out of the cupboard, and he shared it with me. And I said, and then he showed me the drum. She said, that's why he was there. And she pointed to it in the corner. She sort of outlined it and got it sort of 3/4 of the way there. She says it needs to be finished, but it's not ready yet. The weather's not right, and I need to finish it when she's ready. And she tends to paint them on a full moon. So, and of course, it needs to be dry outside and all the rest of it. So when the full moons come round and it's a nice sunny day, that's when she'll paint the drum. So that's what it was doing. It was showing me your drum's nearly there, and it's not. And I think he was getting a bit impatient, but so we had a feed of honey, and that was it. So there you go. So in summary, when you do all this, practice it, build it, just keep going down to your same sacred space over the next couple of weeks before the next call, and then just keep reinforcing it. And you can build on it as you go in. You might, I don't know, say you've got a room, the room might be nice polished wooden floors, and then all of a sudden it changes to sand or gravel, or anything can change because nothing's linear. And you can change the fruit trees to coconut palms or mango, whatever you want. It's quite amazing.
Yeah, sounds like it. It sounds lovely. Also, to be able to create any space that where you feel so good.
Yeah, and I mean, I play about, sometimes I'll drop into just the sacred space, and I'll sit on my bench and I'll meditate from there. Or sometimes I don't. I meditate from like this physical plane, what we call the middle world. So sometimes I'll meditate from here, or sometimes I go there, and I see where it takes me. And it's quite fun. It's like being a kid again, being able to imagine these things. And
yeah, it's I'm sure it'll help me with my imagination. It's very strange. Sometimes I feel like I don't have a lot of it, and sometimes I realize I do have a head full of images. And these days, as I work, my mind has been doing those interesting things where it goes and retrieves an image of one of my past trips in real life, in physical life. Like just one moment, one image of something I haven't necessarily thought of in a while.
Hmm.
Like just very suddenly.
But you've learned to allow it now, whereas maybe a few years ago you'd have pushed it away. What am I thinking about that for?
Mm, not necessarily, but it's just happened a lot. So
Oh,
that's
okay.
what I've
Right.
noticed. That's been interesting in this
Hmm.
way.
Yeah, it's quite amazing what comes up. And when you begin journeying, I mean, I get a sense of things. I sort of see it, but I sense it's hard to describe. I sense the vision rather than pure vision, if that makes sense, when I'm journeying. And then sometimes when I'm sat there, I do get vision. And and I know when I'm dreaming, I'll dream and I can't remember it. And I know when it's a vision because I'll wake up and I remember it, or I'll remember snippets of it, and then the whole thing will come back later on in the morning. Oh shit, yeah, that's what happened. Or I'll even be sat in the chair meditating and I get a vision as well. So it'll take you where it's just quite interesting. The more you practice this, you're doing it safely. You're feeling safe. You're going into different realms and learning to get into a trance into different realms as well, and just see where it takes you. It's quite exciting, but you're quite safe because you've got me and Kat there as well. If ever we're in trouble, Kat will step in and come in and sort it out, so there's no problem. And she knows what's going on most of the time anyway. I don't even have to, if I started messaging her, she'd already know before I started messaging her. So quite interesting. So there you go. And don't forget to practice putting your cloak on as you go into your space. Okay, like I do. You practice putting it on, and then you can make, as you get in there, you can make it do whatever you make it do. And then just carry on from there.
So how often should I, sit with this in the next few weeks?
Well, there's no shoulds. It's how you. I mean, I every time I meditate now, I have a session where I journey into my sacred space. And sometimes I journey further on. As you do the power animal bit as well, you'll see what I mean, because you can practice that as well. So it's you can do it when you come home from work. You can sit if you get a quiet moment when you're in your lunch break and there's nobody about. You can sit and go off and journey. And the interesting thing, the more you practice this now, I can come out. Like if Julie, I was doing my power retrieval to get my energy and everything back for resourcing. It's called a power retrieval, by the way. So I was sat quietly in the lounge. Julie was just finishing off the meal, and she said, "Where are you?" And I was well into my space, and I journeyed on from there. And I opened my eyes. I said, "Oh, I'm here." "Oh, okay then." So, and I just closed my eyes and I went straight back to where I was. So you can come in and out, but that's practice. So the more, and it's the same as your awareness. The more you practice, the stronger it becomes, and you'll begin to see it develop, and it's quite exciting. So it's a bit like starting again with your awareness, but you're vibrating at a higher level now. Your awareness, what we've done, this work has allowed us to like move up a higher vibration and begin to tap into other realms.
Mm-hmm. I can see that, you know, it's yeah, I get it.
Good.
I have you know, I have a lot of awareness these days, more and more about finding ground in the midst of
Yeah,
whatever's happening, you know,
yeah,
especially if it's getting tensed or
yeah,
uncomfortable in any way. So I
yeah,
can imagine, like, you know, traveling to my space and eventually as
mm,
I'm in motion too.
yeah.
So,
And the more you practice it, even when your eyes open, things begin to happen, and you start joining the dots, and you think, "Oh wow!" And it's just a fleeting moment, and then, or it might last a minute or two during the day, and you think, "Oh, wow!" And you just sit in it, and it's just quite amazing what happens the minute you start opening yourself up to these energies. It's quite amazing.
okay.
Good. Okay. Any other questions? Are you good?
No, we're good.
Okay. Awesome. Nice to see you.
You, nice to see you too. And
Take care. And
yes,
if you've got any questions, just message me, and then we'll probably go 2 weeks. If it works for you on a Monday night, we'll go 2 weeks tonight and then do Power Animal. But I'll just check. So I have a client at top of the hour. And I'm just thinking a journey might take a bit longer. Can you do half an hour earlier if we need to?
yeah.
Okay, so we'll do the next one half an hour earlier. Because and I'll just alter that and send it through to you on Zoom. Because we just need that bit. We don't want to rush the journey. See what I mean?
Okay, yeah, sure. Okay, in 2 weeks, yeah, I'll write it down.
Okay, good. Thank you. See you soon.
You,
Take care. Bye.